Hello, we are the Stop Wearing My Clothes podcast, sisters who talk about reality TV. This is episode number 34. I'm Kayla.
And I'm Amy.
And we are going to drop down some hot takes on this little new show called The Ultimatum. Amy, okay. I know you had some strong thoughts.
Yes. Actually, here's what I wanted to know. After watching it all, how do you feel about ultimatums, and how do you feel about the show creating successful relationships?
I actually, obviously it was a hot mess watching. It's probably the messiest show on TV, which I just love. But the thing is, and even Nick Viall, who from the Bachelor franchise, who's kind of talked about the ultimatum a little bit, I feel like it's been the most real conversations. I remember just looking at the couple sometimes and being like, that's a real conversation that I've had with my significant other. These are the boring kind of not shown on The Bachelor and some other things, real relationship talks people have to get a successful relationship. And I also think what April said on the reunion was just so spot on, that going through this process, if you were going through this process with the right person, you're still with them at the end. If not, they showed the process still works because it showed you that you shouldn't be with that person. So my answer to your question is yes, I do think it helps create successful relationships.
Okay. I have mixed feelings because I do see that point of view 100%. But then I also feel like this is just kind of how I view the world right now. So, social media and we have all these options all the time. And so I think that kind of stops people from making commitments or staying satisfied in a relationship, because you can just go out and get whatever you want, whenever you want, from whatever you want, you know? And so I feel like this show is almost promoting that, because it's like, well, if you're not working in the relationship that you're in, then try to see if it works with someone else. And then, it's just it's asking for trouble. I don't know.
But it's also agreed upon, it's not being secret and cheating. And it's also essentially showing that maybe the grass isn't always greener. So the people watching would be like, maybe the relationship I'm in is the way to go. The grass isn't always greener. And sometimes you just have to work for something. Love and relationships and long relationships are not easy.
Okay, yes. But also they're comparing a 2-year relationship to a 3-week relationship or whatever. And of course, 3 weeks with someone, if you actually like them and are enjoying their company, you're not going to have any issues. You're just going to enjoy each other, because nothing is going to be a problem. Because most of the time, things don't become a problem until down the road, because then something that you didn't even realize annoyed you in the first month's year that you were together. You're like, well, now this is freaking driving me up the wall because whatever, So I think comparing a honeymoon phase of a relationship to a 2-year relationship, really, I don't know if that's helpful.
But was it honeymoon? It's not like they could just hang out whenever they want or do a booty call now and then. They had to live together. They had to act almost as if they were in a serious relationship. I get, yes, I guess more like playing house and actually being house, or I don't know. That doesn't make any sense.
I know what you mean.
But I also think it's interesting to know from where we start. I just did not know where it was going to go. Were all of them going to leave at the end? But something to know is, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think everyone ended up with their OG partner except for the ones who just broke up. No one switched partners, which I wasn't sure if that's where they were going. So I don't think that's necessarily the goal or where it's going towards. I think it's just mostly trying to promote and help the relationship that you came in with, whether it's for, yes, I am ready to make that commitment, or I'm not. So really focusing on the actual ultimatum instead of this kind of gray area.
Yeah, I didn't really think of it that way, actually. I didn't kind of connect the dots that the people that pretty much everybody either ended up with who they ended up with, or with no one.
Exactly.
So, okay, so a big relationship that I feel like was the most drama and the most chaos the whole time. Well, I guess there's more than one, but one that I really think about is Jake, April, and Ray, and Zaya.
Just Zay.
Zay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they were from the very first episode, you could tell that was going to be where the most drama came from, like the ultimate love triangle. And I think really what sets this apart from like Love is Blind or The Bachelor, another thing is it's so much more real because, The Bachelor, they've known each other for a couple days or a couple weeks. Love is Blind, like same. But these are real relationships from real life coming into this experience. So I think that's just a super unique, cool element that I liked about this show versus some of the other shows that we recap.
Yeah, I feel that too, because I mean, you got to see like what problems, because I feel like all the problems were pretty similar. It was like communication, figuring out how to communicate, and like realizing that you're gonna have that problem with other people too. So like
Sure.
it's something you need to look at yourself and be like, okay, I need to work on that, versus always blaming the other person.
Yeah, and I think April probably is now going through this process. She's now with her new and improved man and being like, thank God I did this, because what if I married this man? What if she married Jake and then, like, I think Vanessa Lachey, the host, said it a couple times, thank God this happened now and not a couple of years and a divorce and kids later, you know?
Yeah.
And I think it was just obvious that they weren't right for each other. I did feel for her. She was holding on so hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate Jake. He's the most hated of the season for moi. And
Oh,
I think
really?
April was the MVP. And I love her blonde
Okay.
hair. April
Wow,
kind
that's an
of
interesting take.
really, yeah, because I don't
To
know.
me, it is. I
Also,
don't know.
I just I think a lot of girls can relate to April and what she kind of went through with Jake and like I don't know. I just thought they were also the most relatable couple, which I think there's a lot of vulnerability there. And I think she was the most vulnerable. I think she really took this seriously. And for the better or worse of her relationship, she wanted to get down to the nitty gritty of ultimatum, yes or no. And she got her answer.
Yep.
I was so disgusted though on, sorry, I keep talking. I could
No,
talk.
no, go. I want you to keep going.
Well, on actual like finale day or like the ultimatum day, I think they call it. It was very rose ceremony esque from The Bachelor. But when he's like, "Oh, I'm not gonna like," he ends up saying no to the ultimatum, but then he's like, "Oh no, it's not like I'm gonna run off with Ray." And then 5 seconds later, he runs off with Ray, like literally invites her out of the country, and then they like
Yeah,
walk
I did
off into
not
the
get that. Why would
sunset.
he? Why would he even say that? I do not understand why he
He's
even said that.
sketch. He's sketch, man. And I think I like Ray. And I think that
No,
they
me
did
too.
have like a lot in common. They had like just an instant connection that like it would be hard. Like the other couples really didn't have that to that extent. So try
Mm.
to think like that just makes it so much more complicated. And I think you can really tell how much she's struggling throughout the entire show.
Well, and because everybody's like, you guys are perfect together. You guys are perfect together. And that was a very toxic relationship, her and Zay. But like Jake, and I think they had that really strong connection. But then at the same time, she obviously really loved Zay too. As for someone, because she kept going back to him even after the show.
Well,
So,
she's the one who said the ultimatum to Zay. So she wanted to marry Zay.
but then he wanted to marry her, and she didn't want to though. At the end of
Yeah,
that.
it got really, really flipped. One thing I did want to talk about with when we're talking about Ray and Zay was I thought also kind of the moment of kind of that domestic abuse kind of scene that happened. Like it was
Mm.
kind of like I don't also just very real and like what happens. Like I almost wish that they had some type of I know like Bachelor recently has done like disclaimers if they talk about like a serious issue or something like that. I mean Catfish does it if they talk about like eating disorders. I almost felt like that moment do you like when she hits it we don't actually see her hit him but like it was just even just as I just made me feel uncomfortable Zay grabbing her not letting her leave even just that
Mm.
like I couldn't imagine Marcus grabbing me like that.
Mm-mm.
I almost felt like it needed some type of like, if you're in this situation or something like that, or you have experienced domestic abuse, call this number, or, you know, those kind of like screens. I almost felt like it warranted that. It caught me off guard, and it just got like real serious. And I was just like, oh my God, these are real people. Like, this is not healthy. This is not good. And just also not normalizing it, I guess, was my kind of concern.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. And then they really didn't talk about it. I mean,
Mm-mm.
the two of them kind of did, but I almost feel like it was a reunion. Like they should have brought it up and like, or something. I'm not sure. Because even in them screaming at each other afterwards, it's like, can you imagine how they argue when they're alone?
Exactly. It kind of freaks me out a bit. So I wish they would have the show in general would have handled that a little bit differently. And
Hmm.
I guess speaking of that, let's move into Lauren and Nate. I'd love your take on them.
I kind of don't get it with them a little bit.
I think it was like an edit situation. And then I also think like, I don't know, just try to think like Jared or Marcus, and we had that kind of big life difference of what we want, like the kids thing.
Mhm.
Like, but you love that person so much. Like, it seems like they really love each other, and like they're going to therapy and trying to like figure this out. And I think it was all just in a negative context. So I think that's why like they both really had their guard up on the reunion. And I've actually been following Lauren on social media since, and you know, kind of saying like, you guys didn't really see all of it. Like, we've done so much work, and this is gonna like, you know, it would suck to like be so in love in such a good place in your relationship and then have like the whole world hate on it. I kind of feel for her.
Yes. Okay. So this is what I think. I just think that whether it was the edit or whatever it was, the way the proposal went down was very cringy and awkward. And
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like that at all. But afterwards, when they were having that conversation on the bed or whatever, like it made sense. Like if they really love each other, sure, try to work it out. Like, and going to therapy and figuring it out. And I, even when Lauren was talking with Colby before, she kind of came to the realization it's not that I don't want to have kids. I just feel so probably forced to
Sure.
make that choice or to be so gung ho right now. I want to have kids that I don't even have the space to explore what that would feel like or why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling. So probably through therapy and maybe even just having a couple of conversations with Colby, because I feel like Colby, there's some negative things to say about him, but really, I feel like he's really deep and really like can like teach you things or make you like think differently or something. Because the way he talked to Lauren and then even him in April, I feel like he was very open and very like almost like therapist level. I don't know. Did you feel that way at all?
I don't
Or
know. Colby and Jake from the beginning were a bit of a question mark for me where I couldn't figure them out.
Mhm.
Marcus, actually, my husband, for those who haven't watched yet. Hi, if you haven't, we're Stop Wearing My Clothes podcast. I got so excited I lost my train of thought. Of
Marcus
just the
thought
thought of
about
someone new watching our podcast. So that shows how much I care. Mark is actually from episode 1 saying, "There's something not right about that Jake guy. I should have listened to him. He knew. He knew." But yeah, it's actually funny. I don't know if you saw my TikTok recap of just the very first episode, just kind of my initial first thoughts and kind of predictions for the season. The couple for the season was Lauren and Colby. And I was like, they didn't even get past the choice. Like, they didn't even
no.
live together. But I think I might have told you this theory, but I heard the theory that Alexis and Hunter, who were the first ones to get engaged on the choice day, were actually like plants. And they were never intending on going past the choice. They wanted to get like an engagement on that episode. And so that's why everyone was like, kind of knew it was coming. And then that's why
Mhm.
when Nate and Lauren did it right afterwards, yeah, it's weird just because kind of taking the spotlight. I wouldn't want to get engaged on TV like a couple minutes after someone else did, like you're copying or you're I think almost proposing for the wrong reasons, essentially.
Especially if you just got rejected by like 3 girls before that and it's kind of like a last ditch effort.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Yeah, it was like all built up. But essentially, what the theory is they were all so taken back extra because it was planned for Alexis and Hunter, and so that's why everyone was
Uh-huh.
looking around. We're saying like, what are they doing? Because that was, that wasn't the plan. I don't know if that theory is correct or not,
Yeah.
but it was just what I heard that I thought was kind of interesting.
Yeah, it seemed like Alexis defended that though at the reunion that was not the case, but who
Yeah.
knows? I mean, I don't know if they would admit to it. I'm really not sure. I also have read, and I tried to pull it up, but it must have gotten deleted off Facebook. That they didn't even know they were coming on the show because of an ultimatum. They just, I don't know what they thought, but like there weren't necessarily actual ultimatums
All of
made until. Go ahead.
okay, all of them, or one couple in particular?
Well, one in particular was April and Jake, because Jake was like open to all of those things. He was open to having kids, which obviously they were pretty much trying.
So I know.
Um,
Thank God that didn't
Open
happen.
to buying a house, open to getting
Mhm.
married, and it was like, which in April I think that did maybe want to like. I mean, why not take the opportunity to then like gain followers or whatever? I don't
Yeah.
know. But I thought that that was interesting. If that is true, like, was it not like an application saying I've given my boyfriend an ultimatum, or what was the process of that? I wish I
Who
had it still because
knows,
it was very
honestly.
interesting.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And one thing I also wanted to bring up with April is like I really liked how she like both of Lauren and April, women are portrayed a certain way on TV that like all of us want to be mothers, all of us can just if we want babies we have I like that April's kind of storyline of some of her fertility issues and kind of being vocal about that, and as well as Lauren, I think it was even just brave of her for a woman on TV to say she doesn't want kids, because right there opens up such a floodgate of probably haters coming her way, and it's just like
Mhm.
so annoying that that's the case, but I think it was just important representation.
Yeah, and with April too, I like that she was so vulnerable the whole time. Like I feel like um she really like, yes, she was hurting and all that stuff, but I feel like she really did want to dive deep into what she was feeling and her relationship. And yes, she was very focused on making it work with Jake, but I feel like she also was trying to learn and figure things out.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. Guess one other thing I didn't make a TikTok about it is that they lied about Lauren's age, which also ticks me off. That it showed her as 26, but she was actually a couple years older than that, and especially with that combined with her storyline with the kids, it just kind of like, oh, it's like more normal for maybe a 26-year-old versus like a 30-year-old to not want kids. Once she's 30, it'll come around, though she'll want one. I don't know. The whole thing kind of just, I don't know, brought women's rights back a couple years. I don't know. It just bugged me. And I hope it's not the case and it was a mistake, but I
It
just,
kind of seems like it's been with one of the other girls too, though.
yeah,
I don't
I
remember
don't
who,
remember
but
either. But yeah,
yeah.
so that's just kind of annoying as well. But let's see, who else do we got?
Okay, this is what I have to say is the most surprising thing of the entire ultimatum,
Okay.
in my
Okay.
opinion. Colby and Madeline. When I started watching it, I'm like, okay, Madeline's gonna be the villain,
Same.
and there's no way in heck she's gonna marry Colby. She doesn't even seem like she likes him.
I
Like,
know.
no, that's not happening at all. And then at the end of this, they seem like the most happiest. And phew, she is the one that's pregnant.
I know.
I was shocked.
I
That
was
was
too.
like the last person. The last person I would have thought to be pregnant.
Yep.
And and I feel like I was a little confused about the like trajectory of how she went from being with Randall to then being so in love with Colby. I think I kind of missed that a little bit because she really seemed into Randall a lot.
Yeah.
But then Colby did something stupid, and what did he do?
He kind of had a thing on the side and was like lying to girls saying they had an open relationship. He was essentially trying to find his own Randall because him and April, who were paired together, were more on the platonic side. So he wanted to get the
Yeah.
most out of like, which I understand the thought process.
Yeah, but it's wrong.
Yeah.
It like,
It's
I agree with that, because I saw his point of view, but then at the same time, still, you had to have at least asked for permission or something, because she gave you, I don't know if I really like the word permission, but like, this experience was all agreed upon, and to bring other people in was not agreed upon.
I
So
agree.
that needs to be, even though they were technically broken up, so it's very confusing.
Mm-hmm.
But I did not like at all how he kept saying it was her fault.
Oh yeah. I think he has some kind of pride issues or has trouble admitting he's wrong, but it seemed like
Yeah.
where we saw the flip where they were out to dinner the night before like the ultimatum day. She's like, "Oh, I feel so good.
Mhm.
I'm totally going to get married to him." And then just that one
Mhm.
conversation like they break up. But then I think
Yeah, and again, I was like, "There's no way.
I
They're
know.
not. She is not gonna say yes. There's no
So they
way."
must have had a really good conversation off camera. And then not only the
Yeah,
next day do they choose to get engaged, they get married 5 minutes later, and then we see the reunion 5 minutes later, and she's like 8 months preggo. It was
and
wild.
looked so genuinely
She
happy
really did. She was
too.
glowing. She's probably having a
Yeah.
girl since the boys suck out the life and beauty out of someone.
No, it's the opposite.
It's the opposite. You're right. So she's having a boy.
They are no, but she already said she's having a girl. You dork.
Oh, well,
Your theory is
my theory
incorrect.
is I didn't know they announced the sex. That's exciting. Cool.
I even felt like when they were getting married, I'm like, oh no, is this getting forced upon her?
I was
Like, is she
worried
really
too.
wanting to do this? I was like, oh, this is going to end so bad. But then I'm so happy for them. I think that, well, obviously they're the most successful couple on the
Yeah, the big
show.
rumor with them is like everyone's saying, "Oh, they just got married so fast on the show because she knew she was pregnant." And
I don't think so, because it was May 2021, right?
that's what I say. I like people were saying that like on TikTok comments, and I was like, but does the timing
Mhm.
line up? And I actually screenshotted Madeline just today, I think,
Mhm.
cleared up the rumors. And she said, for clarity, Colby and I were married May 13th, 2021, and we'll have our baby in the next 2 weeks, aka not filming during or not pregnant during filming. So
Yeah, because that would be a whole year.
that's what I was
Girls
thinking.
are
I was
not
like,
pregnant
I
for a whole
don't
year.
think that timing adds up. But yeah,
Mm.
so
It is close. They did get
they got
pregnant very
busy.
quickly.
Yeah, they had a really good
Yeah.
honeymoon.
Um, and so then the other couple that we have not talked about yet is
Randall and
Shanique.
Shanique.
Yeah. And I actually was surprised at the reunion that they weren't still engaged, because I did see that there was definitely still some issues that they needed to work through, but
They both
I definitely felt the genuine love.
agreed, their communication was
Yeah.
and yeah, so the kind of the most scandalous part, they apparently like I think they broke up for 6 months. They broke up the engagement pretty soon after the show, but then now
Mhm.
they're back together, but just not engaged. So I think they're in it for the long haul. I don't think they'd get back together if they weren't like really committed to making it work.
Yeah, and I think sometimes having a breakup, I mean, obviously the whole show was on the premise of having a
Sure.
breakup, but you were also having a breakup and then getting 3 weeks. It was all a very emotional, stressful situation.
Mhm.
So for them, maybe having their own space literally without another person
Yeah.
really allowed them to realize, like, I want to have this person in my life. And I guess Randall went through some pretty hard stuff during that time, and even though him and Shanique weren't together, she was really there for
Yeah.
him. So
Yeah, I think
I
they're
see success in their future.
I agree. I think they're best friends. I think they're putting in the work, and I'm excited to kind of see what's going on there. And I think oh
Mhm.
crap, because I was thinking, but I don't think it doesn't work out because April's now with someone else. But that one like Netflix reality show where it's going to be like the single rejects of all the different Netflix reality shows are coming
Ugh.
together. I was like, oh, April, but maybe Zay.
She would have been so good. She would have been so good.
Jake will totally be on there, and maybe Zay and Ray, or maybe Jake and Ray, so they can try to. So we might see more of them.
Jake said that he was planning on proposing to April before the show on a cruise that got canceled because of filming. She didn't know.
Oh, that's awkward. Interesting, but everything happens for a reason, man.
Jake said that he only learned of the ultimatum aspect of the show once the cast was already there. he actually didn't even know there was an ultimatum going on to the show.
Oh, jeez.
And this is from BuzzFeed, so
Pretty legit.
I don't know.
So what I was going to say is, so they're already doing a second season and it's coming soon, but it's going to be an entirely queer season. So only same-sex couples. So I'm really excited about that because I just think representation is always good. And, you know, Netflix is really showing themselves as like, you know, forward thinking versus it could be said that Bachelor is a little bit not in lots of different ways. So I think it'll be really interesting to see kind of where the ultimatum goes now that this first season has gone. And yeah. And Love is Blind is also coming later. And then The Bachelor's in July. And then right after The Bachelor is Bachelor in Paradise. So we've got lots of reality TV to watch. Lots of our brain. Disintegrate? Mold? Or just, what's it called? When you like watch so much TV that your brain just, turns into mush.
Fries?
Or fries, sure. But I wouldn't have it any other way. So...
Yep, it's my favorite part of life.
So that is a wrap on the ultimatum. And thanks so much for watching. We are gonna be every day on TikTok, Instagram, all of our socials. Stop Wearing My Clothes Pod. Please reach out to us there or through email. Stop wearing my clothes pod at gmail.com if you have any hot takes or just want to say hi. And what else?
Subscribe to our YouTube. Apple reviews we love, and yeah, we're super excited. So I guess the next thing we're going to be recapping would be The Bachelorette.
Yep, Bachelorette in July. We'll recap every single week. It keeps changing, so either it's gonna be Monday or Tuesday, which means the recaps will come out either Wednesday or Thursday. So we'll let you guys know once the schedule is officially out, or it might be, but we'll always just have it 2 days after the show airs. So we're so excited, double Bachelorettes. And make sure to follow along on social so you can be up to date on everything we're doing.
Bye.